Walk through any grocery store right now and everything looks more or less normal. The shelves are mostly full, the lights are bright, the music's playing. But look a little closer, week after week, and you start to notice it. Certain everyday foods, the ones we've all taken for granted our whole lives, are quietly slipping away. The supply tightens. The price climbs. The familiar brand shrinks or vanishes for a while or comes back costing half again as much. It's happening slowly and quietly, which is exactly why most people haven't caught on yet, and by the time they do, the easy days of grabbing these things cheaply will already be behind us. For a senior on a fixed income, getting ahead of that curve isn't about fear. It's about being smart with money while you still can. So today, I'm walking you through 11 everyday foods that are vanishing from store shelves in 2026, and exactly why you'll want to grab them before they are gone or priced out of reach. Number 1 is one that's part of nearly every morning in this country, and losing it cheap will sting the most. So stay right here with me to the end. Now before we dive in, if you find this helpful, do me one quick favor and tap that like button. And if you're not subscribed yet, go ahead and hit subscribe and that little bell beside it. Because I put out videos like this every single week to help seniors shop smarter, stretch every dollar, and stay one step ahead of rising prices. It's completely free, it helps this small channel more than you know, and it makes sure these videos find their way back to you. Alright, let's get right into it. Let's go. Number 11, orange juice. Let's start with a breakfast staple that's been quietly disappearing, and it's one of the clearest examples on this whole list. The orange groves that supply our juice have been battered in recent years by disease, by harsh weather, and by shrinking harvests, and the result has been steadily climbing prices and a supply that grows tighter by the season. That glass of juice that used to be an everyday given is becoming a small luxury, and there's no quick fix on the horizon for the groves. While fresh juice doesn't store, the frozen concentrate keeps for a good long while in the freezer, so that's the smart way to stock a little ahead. If your morning glass of orange juice matters to you, it's worth grabbing some now and being aware that this is one everyday pleasure that's quietly on its way to becoming a rare and pricey one. Number 10, chocolate and cocoa. Here's one that's going to surprise people and disappoint a few too. The cocoa that goes into our chocolate comes from a small handful of regions in the world, and those regions have been hit hard by difficult weather and struggling crops, sending cocoa prices to levels almost nobody alive has ever seen. That cost is working its way through everything made with chocolate, shrinking the bars, raising the prices, and quietly thinning the selection on the shelf. Cocoa powder and chocolate keep well when stored cool and sealed, so this is one you can sensibly stock a bit of ahead. If a little chocolate is one of your small daily comforts, and for many of us it is, grab some now, because this is a treat whose price trend is pointing sharply and stubbornly in the wrong direction. Number 9, canned fish. Sardines, tuna, mackerel, and salmon, the humble canned fish that have quietly fed frugal, health-minded households for generations, are getting both more expensive and harder to find in good supply. Fishing quotas around the world have been tightened in response to declining fish populations and shifting ocean conditions, and when the catch shrinks, the supply contracts and the prices climb. That matters, because canned fish is one of the best cheap sources of protein and heart-healthy omega-3 fats there is, especially valuable for an older body. The good news is it stores for years on a cool, dry shelf, which makes it perfect to stock ahead. So grab a good supply now while it's still affordable, because the trend lines on canned fish are pointing towards scarcer and pricier, and protein this good and this convenient is worth securing. Number 8, vanilla and baking staples. Here's a quiet one that bakers are already feeling. Real vanilla has long been one of the most expensive ingredients by weight in the entire kitchen, and supply troubles in the regions that grow it have pushed prices even higher and made the real thing harder to find. And it's not just vanilla. A number of baking staples have been creeping up and growing less reliable on the shelf. For anyone who still bakes from scratch, and baking your own is far cheaper than buying ready-made, these ingredients are worth securing while you can. Many of them keep well when stored properly and sealed. So if baking is part of your life, stock up on the staples now, because the simple pleasure and real savings of baking at home depend on ingredients that are quietly getting scarcer and dearer. Number 7, eggs. Few everyday foods have been as unpredictable lately as the humble egg. Outbreaks of disease in poultry flocks have repeatedly sent egg supplies tumbling and prices soaring, sometimes leaving shelves bare with no warning at all, and that volatility shows no real sign of settling down for good. Eggs are one of the best cheap sources of complete protein there is, which makes their ups and downs genuinely felt in a tight budget. Now, fresh eggs don't keep forever, but they do last considerably longer in the refrigerator than most people think, and there are time-tested ways our grandparents preserved them too. The lesson here is simply to be aware. When eggs are plentiful and reasonably priced, that's the moment to enjoy them and lean on them, because the next shortage and price spike is rarely far behind. Number 6, rice. Rice feeds more of the world than almost any other single food, and it's the cheapest source of clean calories on the planet, which is exactly why any disruption to it ripples out so widely. In recent years, poor harvests and export restrictions in some of the major rice-growing nations have tightened the global supply and pushed prices up, and shoppers have noticed the biggest, cheapest bags getting harder to find. The very good news is that white rice, stored dry and sealed, lasts for years and years without losing a thing, which makes it one of the smartest things you can possibly stock ahead. So buy a big bag now while it's still affordable and tuck it away. Rice is the sturdy foundation that so many cheap, filling meals are built on, and securing a good supply is simple, cheap insurance. If this is the kind of practical, dollar-stretching information you came here for, that quick tap on the like button genuinely helps this channel reach other seniors trying to stay ahead too. Now let's get into the top 5, because these are the ones vanishing the fastest and worth grabbing the soonest. Number 5, real maple syrup. Here's one that catches people by surprise because few think of it as something that could disappear. Real, pure maple syrup depends entirely on a narrow harvest season and exactly the right weather. And that weather has grown more and more unpredictable, squeezing the supply and steadily pushing prices up. The genuine article, not the cheap corn syrup imitation, is quietly becoming both scarcer and dearer. The wonderful news is that real maple syrup keeps remarkably well, especially in the freezer, where it lasts for years without losing a thing. So if you love the real stuff, and once you've had it, you rarely go back, grab a bottle or two now while the price and supply are still reasonable, because this is a beloved everyday treat whose trend lines are both pointing in the wrong direction at the very same time. Number 4, honey. Honey is one of the most useful foods a household can keep, a natural sweetener, an old and trusted soother for a sore throat, and a quick source of energy, and right now it's getting harder to find at a good price. Domestic bee populations have been under serious, sustained pressure for years, which has reduced how much honey reaches the market, and at the same time, scrutiny on imported honey has tightened due to widespread adulteration. Both the home supply and the import channel are squeezing at once. The remarkable thing about honey is that it essentially never spoils, so anything you buy today will still be perfectly good years from now. The large containers offer the best value by far. So grab some now because there's simply no downside to keeping plenty of a food this useful and this long-lasting on hand. Number 3, olive oil. Here's one that's already vanishing in plain sight, and the price tells the whole story. Olive oil prices have climbed dramatically over just the last couple of years, driven by genuinely poor harvests in the handful of countries that produce most of the world's supply, and there's no quick fix anywhere on the horizon. The affordable bottles that were once a given are getting both pricier and harder to count on. And this matters beyond the cost because olive oil is one of the healthiest fats there is, and your body genuinely needs good fat to absorb its vitamins and keep your energy steady. Stored cool and dark, it keeps for a year or more. So grab a bottle or two now while you still can, because this is one everyday staple whose price is stubbornly, genuinely not coming back down. Number 2, beef. Of all the everyday foods climbing out of reach, beef may be the most dramatic. Cattle herds have shrunk to lows not seen in generations, squeezed by drought, by high costs, and by the simple economics of raising cattle. And with fewer cattle, beef prices have climbed relentlessly to record highs with no real relief in sight. That steak or roast that was once an ordinary part of the week is becoming a genuine luxury for a lot of families. Here's the smart play. When you find beef at a good price, or marked down near its date, buy it and freeze it where it keeps for months and locks in today's price. For an older body that needs protein to stay strong, securing affordable beef when you can, and freezing it, is one of the smartest moves there is against a trend that just keeps climbing. And number 1, coffee, part of nearly every morning in this country, and the one whose rising price will sting the most. For so many of us, that morning cup isn't a luxury at all, it's a small daily ritual that makes the morning feel like the morning. But coffee is one of the most price-volatile foods on the entire planet, grown in a narrow band of the world that's been battered by droughts, frost, and failing harvests, and the result has been prices climbing to levels rarely ever seen, with the supply growing tighter by the season. The cheap, dependable coffee we've all taken for granted is quietly slipping away. The good news is that coffee, stored sealed and cool, and especially kept in the freezer, holds its quality for a good long while. So stock up now while you still can, because this is the everyday pleasure whose disappearance will be felt in more homes than almost anything else on this list. If you grab only one thing after watching this, make it your coffee. Now I want you to understand why all of this is happening at once, because it's the part that tells you these aren't passing blips that'll sort themselves out next month. Look closely and you'll see the same forces behind nearly every item on this list. Weather has grown more extreme and less predictable, battering the harvests of coffee, cocoa, oranges, olives, and maple. Crops and herds are struggling, from the cattle ranches to the cocoa farms to the orange groves. Costs have climbed at every step of the chain, from the farm to the factory to the shelf. And global supply has grown more fragile, where a single bad season or a single export restriction in one country ripples out to every store in ours. None of those pressures is the kind that reverses in a hurry. They're slow, structural shifts working their way through the food we eat, and that's exactly why the smart move is to get ahead of them quietly now, rather than scramble later when the change is impossible to miss and impossible to avoid. And here's the practical heart of it, the part to actually act on. The good news woven through this whole list is that most of these foods can be stocked ahead if you choose the right form and store it well. Coffee, honey, olive oil, rice, and canned fish all keep for a good long while on a cool, dry shelf or sealed away from air. Maple syrup, beef, and frozen juice concentrate all keep for months or years in the freezer. So when you find these things at a fair price, buy a little extra of the ones you genuinely use, store them properly, and rotate the oldest to the front so nothing's ever wasted. This was never about hoarding or fear, and it never needed to be dramatic. It's simply the same quiet wisdom that carried our parents and grandparents through every uncertain season. See what's coming. Prepare a little while it's easy, and let the people who waited do the worrying. A modest, sensible reserve of the everyday foods you love, built up a few items at a time, is one of the kindest and smartest things you can do for your own peace of mind. And here's a gentle reminder to carry with you as you go. This was never about living in fear of empty shelves, and it certainly isn't about clearing them out in a panic. It's simply about being a little wiser than the rush, a little more prepared than the person who waits until the shelf is bare and the price has doubled. There is a deep, quiet comfort in knowing that the everyday foods you love and depend on are sitting safely in your own cupboard, secured at today's price, no matter what next season's harvest or next month's headline happens to bring. Our grandparents simply called that good sense, and they slept easier at night for it. So buy a little extra when you can, store it well, waste nothing, and let that steady, sensible habit do its quiet work over the months ahead. You will be glad, again and again, that you started while it was still easy, while the shelves were still full, and while the prices were still within reach. So there are all 11 laid right out for you. Orange juice, chocolate and cocoa, canned fish, vanilla and baking staples, eggs, rice, real maple syrup, honey, olive oil, beef, and most of all, coffee. Notice the pattern that ties them together. Nearly everyone is being squeezed by weather, by failing harvests, by shrinking supply, or by climbing costs, and not one of those pressures is the kind that reverses quickly. This isn't about panic, and it isn't about clearing the shelves. It's about being aware and being smart, grabbing a little extra of the things you already use and love while they're still affordable and still here, and choosing the ones that store well so nothing goes to waste. You don't need to do it all at once. Add a couple of these to your cart on each trip. Focus first on the ones you use the most and the ones that store the longest, and build your buffer up slowly and sensibly. The shoppers who come out ahead won't be the ones who panic when the shelf is finally bare and the price has doubled. They'll be the ones who quietly grabbed these while they still could. So tell me down in the comments, which of these have you already watched climb or disappear at your store, and which one are you going to grab first? I read every single comment. And if this helped you today, don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss the next one. Take good care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next video.